What's up guys, it's Stefan at Overdrive Music, and today we're gonna go from this to this.
Lost my identity, fuck who friend of me. Pop on X, I smoke, gon' get them. They don't wanna try me, I got things. They don't wanna try me, I got play. Drop top too high, got facts. I'm back in him,
The track is by Stt Laurentt. It's called Lost My Identity. It's out now on Spotify. We're gonna mix and master this song. We're gonna use plenty of vintage style plugins for nice tone and character. We'll also use a vocoder to create some harmonies. We're gonna use multiple EQs to cut any harsh frequencies and to really shape the sound. There'll also be 2 reverbs and a delay. So we're gonna do things a little bit differently. I'm gonna use tons of EQ, lots of compression to really put the vocal up front in the mix. I want aggressive sounding vocals. I still want the vocal to be the center of attention and to keep its groove. So last of all, we're gonna go through the mastering chain, polish things up a bit, make it louder and ready for Spotify. So Laurentt already tuned his vocals from home. He's almost got 100% Autotune. He's a very good singer, but this is just the style that he wanted. His vocal chain was a TLM 103 Neumann, plugged directly into the Apollo UAD. So my 2 philosophies with music: it must sound fresh, must sound expensive as well. You gotta sound high quality. You can't ever sound old and you can't ever sound cheap. I highly recommend people invest in a good quality mic and a good quality preamp / converter. So prior to this, Laurentt had a Focusrite mic and Focusrite interface. We were not getting the sound that we wanted. It was very harsh frequencies building up, and it wasn't clean, it wasn't in your face, it wasn't punchy. With this new setup, sounds very smooth, very clear, very professional. So let's dive into the session. We're using Reaper. So here we have it inside Reaper. These are all our vocal tracks. The purple is our lead vocal, and all the green is just ad-libs and doubles. The vocals have already been tuned by Laurentt at home. However, on the odd occasion, there was one word here and there that was just slightly off or not quite in tune. So what I've done, I've used the Waves real-time tune. I've set it to 73% correction and slowed down the transition, slowed down the speed so it doesn't sound like T-Pain, doesn't sound too robotic. Set the key to F, natural minor.
I'm about to pop your face, no way. That pussy waited for me all day. I don't think the gonna come my way. Lost my identity.
All of these vocals are going to a main lead bus over here. So they're all getting affected by the same plugins. So very first step for lead vocals, you can see it's a bit too dynamic. We've got too many of these loud peaks going on, and then also too soft in some areas. So we want to address that first. Bring up an 1176 style compressor. We're not going to use the actual hardware today.
25 Jai, yeah, I'm going in quick. I lost my identity, fuck who friend of me. Pop on X, I
So very light compression at this stage. We're only getting about 2 dB of gain reduction. We've got a fairly slow attack and quickest release possible. 4:1 ratio. So most things are getting compressed on this ratio here. You can see on those loud parts, the compressor is really kicking in.
I lost my identity, fuck who friend of me. Pop on X, I smoke, gon' get me. I don't.
For a full breakdown on how to use an 1176, check out my previous video. We went through the Audioscape hardware. That way you can really check out what the attack and release do and what the ratios do. And I also address the all buttons in mode. Next up, we've just got a standard stock EQ. Nothing at all wrong with stock EQs. If they can design the program, they can design the EQ. That's what my teacher always used to say.
Coming in high, no I don't fail. 25 dry, yeah, you know I ain't scared.
So we're cutting some low end, starting at 300 Hertz, just a low shelf. And then we've got the high pass set to 65 Hertz. I don't like to high pass at around about 100 because to me it sounds a bit unnatural. So I usually keep it around about 60 odd. So if I bypass this,
coming in high, no I don't fail. 25 dry, yeah, you know I ain't scared. 25 dry, yeah, I'm
thins it out a little, but not too thin. If I boost this, this is the range that we're decreasing.
Coming in high, no I don't fail. 25 dry, yeah, you know I ain't scared. 25 dry, yeah, I'm going in quick. I lost.
So it makes it sound a bit thinner. So to my ears, the vocals were sounding too clean. There's no hardware compressor, there's no hardware preamp that was used. It was just mic straight into the interface. So what I want to do is dirty the vocals up, give it some saturation, give it some character, some tone, and really thicken it up nicely. Not too digital sounding. So Soundtoys SieQ, it's a vintage style EQ. So this EQ is not really doing much, and I can show you on these graphs what exactly it's doing. So we'll start off with a low shelf, and I'll show you on this graph the low band's frequency response at its different gain settings. We've made a gentle -3 dB cut, and that red line is essentially what it will look like in a graph. Next up we have the mid control. We've just made a slight 1 dB boost at 1.5K, And here's the graph of this region. This is to give a slight lift in the mid-range on a very broad curve that spans from 100 Hz all the way up to the high mids. That brings us to the high control, in which we've boosted 3 dB. You can see on the graph it has a slight bell shape when you get to the very top boost, and this is essentially what we've just applied. A slight lift in the high end.
Yeah, you know
If we really boost it,
25 job, yeah, I'm going in quick. I lost my identity. Fuck who friend of me. Pop on X, I smoke, gon' get me.
if we really boost that mid-range,
Yeah, better stay clear. Coming in high, no I don't fail. 25 drive, yeah, you know I ain't scared.
and if we boost that low end, even though we're cutting, let's just boost it to see what it sounds like.
Yeah, better stay clear. Coming in high, no I don't fail. 25 drive, yeah, you know I ain't scared. 25 drive, yeah, I'm going in quick. I lost my.
And let's just drive it.
Yeah, better stay clear. Coming in high, no I don't fail. 25 drive, yeah, you know I ain't scared. 25 drive, yeah.
So drive is very much the output, but it gives it a little bit of saturation if you bump it up. So next up, Vintage Compressor by T Racks, IK Multimedia. This is based on the Fairchild compressor. This is very much giving it some analog glue to the vocals, just gluing everything all nicely together. So on the actual compressor, numbers 1 and 2 are very much used for pop vocals. So number 2 sounded good in terms of attack and release. So we're getting about 1.5 dB of gain reduction from this plugin. And you can see on these loud words, it's really taming it quite well.
25 job, yeah, I'm going in quick. I lost my identity. Fuck who friend of me. Pop on X, I smoke, gon' get me.
And let's play it in the mix.
25 job, yeah, I'm going in quick. I lost my identity. Fuck who friend of me. Pop on X, I smoke, gon' get me. I don't want no doubt around.
Sounding quite nice. A little bit flat because we don't have any effects on it, no reverb, no delay. Next up, I love this plugin. It's called C4 by Waves. Let's just see what that's doing.
Yeah, better stay clear. Coming in high, no I don't fail.
So it's like a multi-band EQ / compressor. It's really taming individual frequency bands. So let's hear what the bottom end is doing. Taming all that rumble, which we don't need. This is the low mids.
Yeah, better stay clear. Coming in high, no I don't fail.
So when it gets too loud, it just ducks it down. Keeps it nice and consistent. This is the upper mid-range.
Yeah, better stay clear. Coming in high, no I don't fail. 25 drive, yeah, you know I ain't scared.
Again, keeping it nice and consistent. This range is round about the 500 Hz range to about 6.5K.
Yeah, better stay clear. Coming in high, no I don't fail.
And then the treble, we're going to hear a lot of the S's and T's.
Better stay clear. Coming in high, no I don't fail. 25 drive, yeah, you know I ain't scared. 25.
This recording doesn't actually have a lot of S's and T's, so we don't really need a de-esser, which is kind of rare.
Yeah, better stay clear. Coming in high, no I don't fail. 25 drive, yeah, you know I ain't scared. 25 drive, yeah, I'm going in quick. I lost my identity. Fuck.
So quite smooth at this stage, very smooth vocals, very even. Next up, we have a matching EQ from iZotope. This is a bit of a secret weapon. What I've done, I've captured someone else's vocals, probably NF or G-Eazy or someone's male rap vocals, and I've applied it to our own vocals. So what you do in this situation, I'll show you. So I've dragged in our reference vocals. These are professional vocals. I can't play it due to copyright, but let's say if this was, who knows, Ariana Grande or G-Eazy or Big Sean or whoever it was. So select the track. Let's just clear everything, reset back to default. And you want to capture it. So after about 10 seconds or so, just stop it. Go back to your vocals and capture your vocals.
Me down, I slipped, I popped them. Only wanna throw that cash around her. Wanna make my mama proud of her. Yeah, better stay clear.
And there we go. It will sort of smooth things out by itself. You can have it, say, really smooth, or you can have a little bit more depth. And you can see what it's doing. So it's bumping up around about 300 Hz, bumping up that low end. You can adjust this if you didn't want to touch the very bottom. You can slide this. Say if you've got too much treble going on to your ears, you can always just cut this. Adjust it how you like. The amount is just controlling the depth. I usually have it quite low. I don't really want to use too much of this. And let's play it.
I slipped, I popped them. Only wanna throw that cash around her. Wanna make my mama proud of her. Yeah, better stay clear. Coming in high.
Bit too harsh if I really push it. So just have a touch here. So that's a little cheat, but it works. It's quick, it's effective, it works. Next up, I've got a free plugin by TDR. It's called Nova. It's a dynamic EQ. It's kind of like C4, but I really wanted to shape the sound some more, give it more of a high pass, and duck more of that lower mid-range, so 200, 500 Hz. It's not really doing all that much. I'm mainly using it as an EQ, not so much dynamic EQ.
Stay clear, coming in high, no I don't fail. 25 drive, yeah, you know I ain't scared. 25 drive, yeah, I'm going in.
So it's not really moving all that much. It's mainly just carving out that lower mid-range. In the mix,
Stay clear, coming in high, no I don't fail. 25 drive, yeah, you know I ain't scared. 25 drive, yeah, I'm going in quick. I lost my identity, fuck who friend of me, pop on.
next up, Dynamic EQ, another multi-band EQ. This is an amazing plugin. I love iZotope.
Can't stop it, try to bring me down, I slipped, I popped. Only wanna throw that cash around it.
So lots of little different cuts, cutting any of that harsh mid-range and upper mid-range and treble. So I'm just going to play individually what they are cutting. It's almost 8 kilohertz, really hurting my ears, that very tinny sound. Stepping back to about 3.5K. It's like a harsh buzzing sound going on there. Slight duck at 2.6K. Again, it's not really cutting too much. It's just controlling dynamically those harsh sort of peaks when it builds up too much. The low end, a lot going on down here. So 300 hertz. We've got a high pass. It's not really necessary, this one. And this one at 153 hertz. We've already done this range in TDR's Nova and the Wave C4, but this is further taming that range. So let's play it with.
Can't stop it, try to bring me down, I slipped, I popped them. Only wanna throw that cash around her. Wanna make my mama proud of her. Yeah, better stay clear, coming in high, no I don't fail. 25 drive, yeah.
So it's very subtle, but controlling that harsh mid-range and upper mids. So if you're playing on a phone speaker or a Bluetooth speaker, that harsh frequency is not really going to pop through and annoy us, give us ear fatigue. So again, more of the same thing in the low end.
Can't stop, try to bring me down.
I think what happened was I heard it in the mix and I still wanted to cut more of that low end. So we've done about 4 or 5 different cuts in the low end now. And another duck here, 1.6K.
Can't stop, try to bring me down, I slipped, I popped them. Only wanna throw that cash.
So now we're really sculpting the sound. I've come to something that I'm happy with, but in the actual mix, I thought this range was a bit too much, this range was a bit too much. You're probably wondering why we've made a 1.5K boost, and then we've just made a 1.6K cut. This boost is very wide, so this boost will come from about here, and it will just be a slight boost all the way through the low and the upper mid-range for that. This 1.6, I just felt like it was a very narrow band, and I was hearing too much of this in the actual mix. Too much energy in that region. Next up, we have Nectar by iZotope. I love this plugin, very easy to use. I've just clicked on Vocal Assist, let it run its thing, and what it does, it EQs for us. It does another EQ, sort of boosting some frequencies. It's got a de-esser, which I don't usually use, but it sounded okay in this. It uses a compressor and a little bit of reverb, which I don't really like to use these 3, but it just sounded good in this mix, so we just left it. So the first up, the EQ.
Can't stop, try to bring me down, I slipped, I popped them. Only wanna throw that cash around her.
Lots of different cuts. This is crazy. I wouldn't usually do this. So automatically it's just chosen what to duck because it's thinking that this is too much in the actual mix. Some of these are set to dynamic mode. Like this one here is on dynamic, but it's frequency dependent. So as Laurentt goes up in pitch, it will follow his pitch. As he goes down to a lower voice, it will follow it back down. Only doing slight cuts, minus 2 dB, give or take. So 146 hertz. Can't really hear that. 290 hertz. 800 hertz. Again, dynamic mode.
Stay clear.
3.5K. It's got another EQ, so it's doing a broad boost at 5K. Again, iZotope just thought it needed more of that. Almost 2K, slight cut. De-esser. It's not really doing too much, And I don't usually use this de-esser. I like the Waves one, I like FabFilter one, but this just sounded good. This compressor.
I can't stop, I try to bring me down, I slipped, I popped them. Only wanna throw that cash around her. Wanna make my mama proud of her. Yeah, better stay clear, coming in hot, no I don't fail. 25 dry, yeah, you know I ain't scared. 25 dry, yeah, I'm going in quick. I lost my identity, fuck who friend of me. Pop on X, that smoke gon' get him. I don't.
It's just leveling all the vocals quite well. It's not too dynamic like it was before. And I've just blended the wet dry to 47, so it's still compressing quite a bit actually. The ratio is set to a limiter style, so 10:1, which is very heavy compression. That's why I turned the mix down. Fairly fast attack, so the compression's coming in almost straight away. And the release is very slow, so it's latching onto the compression for quite some time.
Can't stop, I try to bring me down, I slipped, I popped them. Only wanna throw that cash around her. Wanna make my mama proud of her. Yeah, better stay.
And a reverb. So I've turned the reverb mix all the way down to 8%, which is very low, but it's just giving a bit of depth to the vocal. It's not so dry and in your face. If I really boost it, let's hear what that reverb actually sounds like.
Can't stop, I try to bring me down, I slipped, I popped them. Only wanna throw that cash around her. Wanna make my mama proud of her. Yeah, better stay clear, coming. I don't want no doubt around her. They just be mad, fuck out of my way. Yeah.
So next up we have REQ by Waves. Amazing EQ, I love the quality of this EQ. What I've done here is just set up a high band at about 17K. It's a very, very high frequency, and it's just doing a high shelf.
I can't stop, I try to bring me down, I slipped, I popped them. Only wanna throw that cash around her. Wanna make my.
So all that treble, that very air band is just coming up. So on your phone speaker, that's really gonna pop, it's really gonna shine. On a small Bluetooth speaker, that's really gonna come out and be very present, because we wanna capture the listener's attention. I felt like it needed a bit of a boost here at 1.7, but that's a very broad boost in that mid-range.
I try to bring me down, I slipped, I popped them. Only wanna throw that cash around her. Wanna make my mama proud of her. Yeah, better stay clear, coming in hot, no I don't fail. 25 dry, yeah, you know I ain't scared. 25 dry, yeah, I'm going in quick.
And again, I've just put a high pass, this time at 100 Hertz. So I don't usually do that, but I felt like it just needed it. I really wanted to sort of separate Laurentt from the music itself. Next up, Vox from Waves. Very easy to use compressor. There's no attack, no release.
Can't stop, I try to bring me down, I slipped, I popped them. Only wanna throw that cash around her. Wanna make my mama proud of her. Yeah, better stay clear, coming in hot, no I don't fail. 25 dry, yeah, you know I ain't scared. 25.
So let's start by default on this
Can't stop,
plugin.
I try to bring me down, I slipped, I popped them.
The good thing to do is to draw a box here and just slide down, and that will control your output as well, so your output doesn't get too loud.
Can't stop, I try to bring me down, I slipped, I popped them. Only wanna throw that cash around her. Wanna make my mama proud of her. Yeah, better stay clear, coming in.
So that's the end of the EQs and compression. Now let's get onto the sends. So the first send we've set up is a parallel compressor from Waves. It's an RS124, classic Beatles style compressor they used to use in Abbey Road studios. And this is absolutely smashing the vocal, you can hear it.
Better stay clear, coming in hot, no I don't fail.
So that reverb we added before with Nectar is really coming
Can't
out.
stop, I try to bring me down, I slipped, I popped them. Only wanna throw that cash around her. Wanna make my mama proud of her. Yeah, better stay clear, coming in hot, no I don't fail. 25 dry, yeah, you know I ain't scared. 25 dry, yeah, I'm going in quick. I lost my identity, fuck who friend of me. Pop on X, that smoke gon' get him.
We've set the volume to quite low, but it's just enough to maintain the overall volume of the vocal in the mix. So those soft words are not getting lost, and those loud words are not too loud.
Can't stop, I try to bring me down, I slipped, I popped them. Only wanna throw that cash around her.
That vintage style compression is adding a little bit of thickness as well to the vocal. I was watching a pure mix video of Ryan Hewitt mix Blink-182's vocals. I couldn't believe the hardware of this. It was absolutely amazing. So he used an 1176, and that wasn't really doing the job because Tom's vocal was a bit thin. So as soon as he brought the hardware up, I was absolutely amazed. So the next send we have, it's usually an exciter that I add to add some treble. I usually have the Aphex exciter from Waves on a send just to give it a little bit of treble. But in this situation, we didn't need that treble. So I just had one more parallel compressor, Fairchild, just to give it some glue. Again, it's kind of smashing the vocal quite heavily. We've got that number 2 setting, good for pop vocal. And we're getting maybe about 2 dB of gain reduction.
Yeah, better stay clear, coming in hot, no I don't fail. 25 dry, yeah, you know I ain't scared. 25 dry, yeah, I'm going in quick. I lost my identity.
Let's just bypass these two parallel compressors for now, see what
Can't stop,
happens.
I tried to bring me down, I slipped, I popped them. Only wanna throw that cash around her. Wanna make my mama proud of her. Yeah, better stay clear, coming in hot, no, I don't fail. 25 drive, yeah, you know I ain't scared.
It's not just making it louder, it's actually making it more consistent. Next up, absolutely love this plugin. It's an ADT by Waves. This is what it's doing in solo.
I tried to bring me down, I slipped, I popped them. Only wanna throw that cash around her.
It's making it stereo, and I'm adding this very subtle in the mix. You can see how low I've got it. But if we combine it with the parallel, combine it with our lead vocals.
I can't stop, I tried to bring me down, I slipped, I popped them. Only wanna throw that cash around her. Wanna make my mama proud.
Let me just exaggerate
Can't stop,
it.
I tried to bring me down, I slipped, I popped them. Only wanna throw that cash around her. Wanna make my mama proud.
And in the
Can't
mix,
stop, I tried to bring me down, I slipped, I popped them. Only wanna throw that cash around her. Wanna make my mama proud of her. Yeah, better stay clear, coming in hot. No, I don't.
good headphone candy. If you've got headphones on, that vocal is just going to come alive. First reverb we have is Valhalla Vintage Verb. I've got this preset here, 2.29 seconds decay.
Can't stop, I tried to bring me down, I slipped.
So before the reverb we have a de-esser, and I love this de-esser because it just kills every S and every T. You can hear exactly what it's taking away. If we didn't have this on, it would incorporate these sounds which we don't want. So that's just going to muddy up our mix if we didn't have the de-esser. So with the de-esser, without the de-esser, so all the S's is just going all over the place, which is what we don't want. So good to have a de-esser before reverb. We've low cut the reverb at 550 Hertz, and we've put a high cut, so again, it's not all this crazy treble going everywhere, and all this low end going everywhere. We don't want that. We have another reverb. It's quite rare that I use two reverbs, but this one just sounds amazing. H reverb by Waves, and we'll set it to large plate. Just left it as is in terms of the preset. We don't have a de-esser because I felt like it works.
25 drive, yeah, you know I ain't scared. 25 drive, yeah.
So now let's move on to the ad-libs.